Recently, a name that many of you guys will recognize, BeaPlays, a once prominent YouTuber and a former community manager for Dress to Impress, has resurfaced online after allegedly securing a new job. Now, under ordinary circumstances, this would not be worth a video. However, considering the serious claims and the public discourse around her name and her allegedly getting another job has just reignited another wave of conversation in the community. Now, I weighed the pros and the cons of speaking on this, but ultimately decided that this video needed to exist, not to defend, accuse, or sensationalize, but to discuss the reaction itself. There's been a plethora of really mixed and honestly nonsensical comments, many coming from younger people and others from people who have merely observed that the internet's like someone and have chosen to perpetuate that narrative without context or just any independent thought. Now, I want to make this very clear from the beginning of this video. This is not a defense video. This isn't me picking sides. This isn't me exposing anything. I just honestly have a lot to say. I've been suppressing it for so long because this whole conversation is really triggering to me, but I am ready to kind of vocalize what I feel about all of this. Now, for some context, there's been talk circulating online that BeaPlays has allegedly started a new job. I first came across this claim over on Reddit and later through another content creator who mentioned that they have checked Bea's LinkedIn profile. I may be going on a little tangent here, but I want to clarify something that I've just been seeing a lot. This isn't stalking. LinkedIn is a public platform. The entire goal of that site is to let people view your professional background, your career path, and your current employment status. That's literally what the platform is designed for. So when someone goes on a publicly accessible profile and sees what's been voluntarily shared, that isn't stalking. It's public information made visible by the user themselves. What would be considered crossing the line is taking that information and using it to harass, contact, or even target the individual in any way. The act of just viewing a profile that's made to be viewed is not harassment, is not stalking. It becomes an issue only when people turn it into one. It is one thing to say, oh, I saw her new job title on LinkedIn or whatever, and another thing to entirely dig into her employer, contact her coworkers, or spread personal information. That's where it crosses into invasion of privacy. But to simply notice or mention what's already public, that's not unethical. It's just information awareness, and it's not stalking like a lot of people are claiming it to be. Now, for anyone who's unfamiliar, LinkedIn is a professional networking platform where people can list their work experience, connect with other people in their industry, and basically share career updates. One way that I like to think of it is LinkedIn being a little social media site, but it's mostly just focused on employment and professional development. So according to what's been shared, Bea's LinkedIn profile actually suggests that she may now be working as a contractor and or a video game UGC consultant. And in very, very simple terms, a contractor is someone who isn't a full-time employee, but is hired for a specific task for a specific period of time, usually through a temporary agreement or a contract with a company. And a UGC consultant is basically, in simple terms again, helping games grow and open doors for bigger opportunity. Now, the main argument I've been seeing repeatedly online, especially in the comments and on platforms like Reddit and X, is that Bea, quote unquote, shouldn't be allowed to get a job because of the allegations that were previously made against her. Now, let's think about it for a moment. How exactly is someone meant to survive without work? So regardless of who we're talking about right now, everyone needs some level of financial stability to basically meet basic human needs, to eat, to pay bills, to have a roof over their head, to have access to professionals, etc., etc. And while it's true that we as the community and I guess outsiders, we don't know Bea's exact financial situation, and quite frankly, we're not entitled to know at all. But she has publicly mentioned that in the past that she purchased a house, and that alone implies a need for consistent income and long-term financial responsibility. Now, I know that a lot of you guys are super young, but there's a plethora of payments that you're required to meet and make every single month, every few weeks towards that house that you purchased. Otherwise, missing payments or report to credit agencies, which significantly damages your credit score, and you will be taken to court with a possession order. Now, obviously, there is so much more that happens if you fail submitting your payments, but I think you all guys understand that. So when people say things like she doesn't deserve a job, what they're essentially saying is that someone based on allegations that haven't been proven in court yet should be completely stripped of their right to earn a living. And if someone has not been legally convicted of a crime, the public, us, we don't have the legal authority to decide that they shouldn't be allowed to work again and basically make money to be able to fund really important things like food, housing, and have access to medical care. If she really does have a new job, then fine, good for her, she's working again. But if that job involves anything connected to kids or youth audiences, then in my opinion, that's where it crosses the line, like big time. Because here's the thing, when you've been publicly accused of inappropriate behavior towards minors, whether proven or not, you lose the privilege of working in spaces that rely on trust with that same demographic. Children, teenagers are naturally impressionable. They often don't understand the dynamics of power or manipulation that can happen between a content creator and their audience, and that's exactly why adults who've been involved in allegations like this shouldn't ever be in a position where those power dynamics could repeat again. Even if she believes she's changed, you guys, even if she seeks therapy or has access to some authorities about this, or that things are taken out of context, it doesn't matter, because perception and safety always comes first, you guys, and a responsible adult would recognize that being around minors again in any capacity is inappropriate. And I feel like that's the part that people seem to miss. It's not that she doesn't deserve to work or have a career, it's that there are countless paths available that she could go into that don't exactly involve proximity to vulnerable groups, people, etc. So if you've been accused of crossing those boundaries again, you don't get to test them again. Another comment I've been seeing a lot of people saying is that they're confused or even angry that Bea was allegedly able to get a new job so quickly after everything that came out, because let's be honest, you guys, a lot of people right now don't even get callbacks from their job applications. The job market is genuinely so full right now, and seeing someone accused of something as serious as apparently landing a new position feels wrong. It feels undeserved, you guys. But here's a few things that I guess could explain why this happens. Again, I do want to clarify that although that LinkedIn profile did look genuine and it did look like it belongs to Bea, her new job isn't very clear to us. We can pick apart like the comments that she has been leaving on LinkedIn, but for me personally, I cannot really figure out what her like real job is at the moment. So with that said, it also really depends on what kind of job she actually got. Again, I cannot verify this right now, but if it's something freelance, contract based, or remote, there's usually a lot less background checking involved. Companies that hire freelancers or like short-term workers mostly care about whether you can do the job well. Like, that's the truth, you guys, not necessarily about your reputation online unless it's directly affecting their brand, which is why you usually see people who've been quote-unquote cancelled or exposed for their behavior online usually move into more like behind the scene roles, if that's like a way you can phrase it. So that would involve things like editing, marketing, or managing something in the background that doesn't necessarily require you to work in public. So they're basically not in the public eye anymore, so their reputation doesn't matter as much, only their skills do and what they can deliver and bring to the company. Another big thing people forget is that the internet outrage doesn't always exist outside the internet. Online, her name is heavily damaged, but outside of spaces like Roblox or DTI, most people may not even have any clue who she is. So if a hiring manager from a completely different industry sees her resume, they're probably not gonna like dig through old tweets or read Reddit posts. They're just gonna look at her work experience, check her references, and if nothing looks risky, if nothing can like cause the company to get in trouble or anything, that's it. They just move on, probably hire her. And then the most simplest and honestly, in my opinion, the most uncomfortable explanation, some companies just don't care. If there's no active court case or a criminal record, then from an employer's perspective, there is technically quote-unquote nothing official stopping them from hiring her. And at the end of the day, you guys, businesses care more about performance and reputation for themselves, not moral accountability. So unless the situation gets so public that it starts to affect them directly, they're gonna hire people. And that's all that I really have to say. Again, I'm not here to fuel outrage or start another wave of drama. I just think conversations like this are really important, and like I said, I've been suppressing my thoughts and I've been reluctant towards sharing what I personally think about all of this because it is quite triggering for me, but I am ready to share them, so definitely expect more commentary content from me about this topic. But again, this is all from me today. If you got any of your own thoughts about this, feel free to share them in the comments. Just keep it respectful, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Bye.